Hello! In this film, we'll show you how you can work out a spelling tip to find the best way to spell words containing long vowels. Most of the video looks at how we spell long vowel A, but you can also use the same method to work out tips for how to spell words with the other four long vowels E, I, O and U. So what is a long vowel? All letters have names and sounds which are known as phonemes. So A is a letter name and A is its sound or phoneme. The phonemes or sounds we usually use for the vowels are known as short vowels. So that's A, E, I, O and A. But a long vowel sound is different to a short vowel sound. Long vowels are made when A, E, I, O or A on its own or combined with other letters makes the same sound as its letter name A, E, I, O or U. So A becomes A, E becomes E, I becomes I, O becomes O and A becomes U. The way that we write a long vowel is the same as its lowercase letter but with a line above them. So what is long vowel A? Long vowel A is made when A, or A with other letters beside it, makes the same sound as its letter name A. It can be spelled in more than 4 different ways, which is a bit confusing. These are the 4 most common ways that you'll find it in words. So you might see A written as the letter A on its own. You might see it written as an A, another letter in between, and followed by an E. You might see A written as the letters A and I tucked together, or the letters A and Y tucked together. Let's see if we can work out the pattern. To do this, you'll need to write out these 4 A headings and copy out some words from the long vowel A word list in resources onto pieces of paper. So lay out your 4 A spelling pattern headings. Read your words, listen to where you can hear the A sound in the word, and match those words to the spelling pattern that they look the same as. So you can see that acorn, apron and apricot all start with that single letter A. Gate, cape and take. I can hear that A sound in the middle of their words, and they all have a pattern with an A, a consonant and an E. I can also hear the A sound in the middle of paid, mail and stair. But looking at those words, you'll see that their pattern is having the letters A and I side by side. Words like day, play, say, you can hear the A at the end of the word, and they're written with a spelling pattern of A-Y. Have a look at the rest of the words on this page. Where do they match up? Where will they go? When you've sorted out all the cards, you should see a pattern. So, acorn, apron, apricot, agent. I'm going to clap these words for you. Acorn, apron, apricot, agent. In these words, the A sound is at the start of the word, but it is also at the end of the first syllable. And it's written just as the letter A. But you will also find words where the A sound at the end of a syllable is in the middle of a word. Look at the next word, potato. It has 3 syllables, po, te, to. The middle syllable, te, ends in the A sound, so it's the same pattern as these other words. You just write te as T-A. The second column contains words with the A sound in the middle of them. Gate, cape, take, late, fair. The spelling pattern on these words is A, consonant, E. This is the most common way to spell the A long vowel sound when you hear it in the middle of a word. The next column also has the A sound in the middle of the words. Paid, meal, stare, tail, and hair. This is the second most common way of writing, and this is where you should go to if when you've used the first rule it doesn't quite look right for you. And it is spelt A-I. The last column all have words that end in the A sound. Day, play, say, way, and stay. And here our long vowel A sound is written by writing A and Y together. So here we have your long vowel A tip. Now it's a tip, not a rule, and there are exceptions, which we'll get to in a minute. If you hear your A sound at the end of a syllable, you simply write it as the letter A. If you hear the A sound in the middle of a word, the first pattern you would try is A, consonant, E. If that doesn't work for you and it doesn't look right, the second pattern you would try for the A sound in the middle of a word is A-I written together. And if you hear the A sound at the end of the word, you write that A-Y. Now you can practice this tip using words in the list. So get a piece of paper, write the 4 common ways of spelling A down as headings, and one person can read out a word. The second person says where they can hear the A sound and gives it a tick on the paper. Have a look at the word to see if you are right. As I said before, there are some exceptions to this tip. Some words start with the A sound being made by A and I together at the start of the word, not the middle. Ale, aim, air. There are also some words in the aero family, and aero is spelled just like the chocolate bar, A-E-R-O. Words like aerial, aeroplane, aerobics. Aero is spelled this way because it comes from the Greek word for flight. So in the exact same way as you did before, you can work out the 5 common spelling patterns for writing long vowel E. To do this, you need your 5 ways of writing E written out on a piece of paper and a selection of words from the resource list. Listen to where you can hear the E sound in the words and match them to the spelling pattern. Bee, emu, here, baby, meat. When you lay out the cards, you will notice a pattern that gives you the tip for how to write your long vowel E sound depending on where you hear it in the word. If you hear that E sound at the end of a syllable, like in the words emu or below, you simply write it as the letter E. There are two ways in which you can write the E sound when you hear it in the middle of a word. The first choice that you would go to is the double E in feet or weep. The second choice would be to write it as E-A, like in bead or here. Again, there are two ways in which you can write the E sound when you hear it at the end of a word. The most common way is to write it as the letter Y, like in baby or puppy. The second way that you could choose is the double E, as in bee or tree. In exactly the same way, you can work out the patterns for spelling long vowel I. This time you'll need 5 headings and a set of words from the resource list. Again, listen to where you can hear the I sound in the words, look at the words and match them to the spelling pattern. My, bike, pie, light, iron. Again, when you lay out the cards, you will notice the pattern. If you hear that I sound at the end of a syllable, like in the words iron or final, it's simply written as a letter I. If you hear your I sound in the middle of your word, you have two choices. The most common way to write it is I consonant E, as in fire or 9. The second choice that you would go to is IGH, as in high or sigh. Similarly, if you hear your I sound at the end of a word, you have two choices. The most common one is writing it as the letter Y, as in fly or spy, but it can also be written as IE, like in the words lie or tie. Now I think you might be getting the hang of it by now because you work out long vowel O tips from this exact same way. Lay out your 4 headings that can spell O. Look at the words from your resource list. Listen to where you hear the O sound. Look at the spelling pattern and see if you can match them up. Bow, boat, bone, open. So once more, when we lay out the cards, you should see the pattern for the long vowel O tip. Where you hear the O sound at the end of a syllable, it's simply written as the letter O. You can hear it in open. You can hear that sound twice in the word potato. It's at the end of the first syllable and the end of the last syllable. Po, te, to. If you hear that O sound in the middle of a word, you have two choices. The most common one is to write it as O consonant E, as in bone or home. If that doesn't work for you, if that spelling doesn't look right, The other way of writing it is as the letters O and A together, and you'll find that spelling pattern in words like boat and coat. If you hear the O sound at the end of a word, it's written as OW. The last long vowel pattern that we're looking at is for U. There are 3 headings that you will need for working out tips to spell U. Again, you'll need a set of words from the resource list. In the exact same way as you've done before, listen to where you hear the U sound and look at the words and match them under the correct pattern. And here is your long vowel U tip. If you hear the U sound at the end of the syllable, as in unicorn or pupil, you simply write it as the letter U. If you hear that U sound in the middle of a word, like in the words tune or tube, it's written as U, consonant E. And when you hear the U sound at the end of the word, it's written with the 2 letters E and W together. And you find that pattern in words like new and flew. Why not have a go at trying to spell these words using our long vowel spelling tips? I hope that you find these spelling tips useful. A full page poster of them can be found on page 11 of the Spelling Hints book on our website. Bye!